Michel Barnier has rushed for crisis talks with Angela Merkel in Berlin this morning as fears persist post-Brexit. Trade negotiations between the UK and European Union could still be on the brink of collapse. The EU's chief Brexit negotiator is stepping up his attempts to get a free trade agreement over the line by meeting the German Chancellor, who currently holds the EU's rotating presidency and will play a vital role in convincing her counterparts to support any deal. The influential Mrs. Merkel is optimistic a trade deal with the UK can be agreed before the end of the transition period on the 31st of December, and on Friday said London remains on a constructive path. But she also warned the breach of the Brexit withdrawal agreement through the UK government's internal market bill is a bitter blow in efforts to reach a deal. The crunch meeting comes after Boris Johnson said he still wants a trade agreement with the EU before the end of the year but insisted Britain could live with a no-deal outcome, after he agreed in a phone call with European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen to step up negotiations. The Prime Minister said on Sunday, "I think it's there to be done. Alas, there are some difficult issues that need to be fixed, and there's no question that the EU needs to understand that we're utterly serious about needing to control our own laws and our own regulations. And similarly they need to understand that the repatriation of the UK's fisheries is very important." When asked if he is worried by the potential damage a no-deal outcome could have, Mr. Johnson replied, "I don't want the Australian WTO-type outcome, particularly, but we can more than live with it. I think the people of this country have had enough of being told that this will be impossible or intolerable. I think we can prosper mightily under those circumstances." The EU wants a trade deal struck with the UK by the end of October to leave enough time for the bloc's leaders to ratify the agreement before the end of the year. Further trade talks will take place in London this week and in Brussels the following week, before the 27 EU leaders meet at a special summit on the 15th of October 16 to assess the progress. Heiko Maas has warned the coronavirus pandemic has made agreeing a post-Brexit trade deal with the UK more urgent and failing to get one will be irresponsible. The German foreign minister was speaking following a meeting with Michel Barnier. He said, "With today's health and economic challenges, people on both sides of the channel have enough to shoulder, so it would be totally irresponsible to burden them in this position with additional problems through a no deal." Goldman Sachs believes the UK and EU will still likely to agree a post-Brexit trade deal by early November but warned a breakdown in negotiations between the two sides can't be ruled out. The firm's analyst said in a note to clients, "Our core view remains that a thin zero-tariff zero-quota trade agreement will likely be struck by early November, and subsequently ratified by the end of December. The risk of a breakdown in negotiations cannot be ruled out. We continue to think the perceived probability of no deal will persist beyond the next European Council meeting in mid-October. The combination of COVID-19 and a no-deal Brexit with the EU could cost the UK around £134 billion each year in lost GDP for a decade," research by law firm Baker & McKenzie showed. In a report titled "The Future of UK Trade, Merged Realities of Brexit and COVID-19 Inches," Baker & McKenzie's coronavirus outbreak will cut the country's GDP by 2.2% below the levels anticipated before the crisis began. The law firm also said Brexit, even without a trade deal, would cut GDP by 3.1% in the long run relative to a hypothetical scenario where the UK remained in the EU, while exports of goods would fall by 6.3%. However, without a deal, the cost of Brexit would increase to 3.9% of GDP in the long run. Baker & McKenzie said, despite businesses taking steps to offset the added costs of Brexit by reconfiguring supply chains, the decline in export revenues for UK manufacturers will be substantial. With the costs of the UK's departure from the EU likely to be very high, the government will need to use all the tools at its disposal to help mitigate the economic damage.